Welcome to Football Daily, where today we're looking at 10 times football matches were fixed. 10. Gabi Herrera and the Malatin. In 2011, Spanish side Real Zaragoza claimed a 2-1 victory away over Levante, securing their La Liga status on the final day of the season. A 7,000 travelling away fans rejoiced. Relegated Deportivo coach Miguel Latina made it clear he smelt a rat, and with good reason it would seem. According to Spanish paper El Pas, Zaragoza's former owner Agapito Iglesias used €1 million of the club's money to pay his players bonuses on the eve of the game. It is then thought the players distributed this money to their Levante counterparts in order to throw the match. When anti-corruption officials saw this irregular activity, they opened an investigation. In total, 42 individuals were summoned to give their account of events, including former captain Gabi, Manchester United midfielder Ander Herrera, Atletico fullback Juanfran, and Swansea winger Jefferson Montero. If found guilty, match fixing can carry a lifetime ban from football and sentencing from 6 months to 4 years imprisonment. The case is expected to run until 2017. 9. The Bergamo Derby. Our first entry from Italy, Europe's match-fixing epicenter, occurred during a cup game between local rivals Atalanta and Pistoiese. In the 2000-2001 season, the golfing class was significant between the two sides, with a young, dynamic Atalanta challenging Inter Milan for a UEFA Cup spot and Pistoiese fighting for survival in Serie B. But in this instance, the form book had been swapped for bookies' slips. SNAI, an Italian betting company, were alarmed by the sheer volume of bets on a game of such little stature, and, even more dubiously, a disproportionate amount of people were plucking on 1-1. And would you believe it, the game followed the suspicious betting trend, promptly causing the Italian Football Federation to investigate. Later that year, 3 players from Atalanta, including former international Cristiano Doni, were summoned to give evidence. Eventually, 5 players were suspended for up to a year, and 4 players were cleared of any wrongdoing, including Doni, much to Atalanta's delight. 8. Arsene Wenger's fury. Arsene Wenger knows all about match fixing. As manager of Monaco, he was denied 2 domestic titles by one of Ligue 1's most infamous spates of cheating. Bernard Tapie, then owner of Marseille, wasn't just buying up Europe's hottest talent, he was also buying off his domestic opponents. Apparently, he was handing out so many bribes at one point, he had mounds of cash buried in his garden. Under Tapie's crooked rule, Marseille won 4 league titles and the Champions League in 1993, with a side featuring legends such as Jean-Pierre Papin, Abdelhi Pelé, Didier Deschamps and Marcel Desailly. Despite a team capable of dispatching Europe's elite, Tapie's hubris knew no bounds, and in the final game of the 93 season, he reportedly tried to bribe 2 Valenciennes players. After they informed their manager, Boro Primorac, he swiftly reported it to French authorities. Marseille were eventually stripped to the 1993 title and demoted to League 2 because of Tapie's creative accounting, and, to this day, Wenger describes it as the hardest period of his professional career. 7. The Great British Fake-Off. As austerity subsided in 1950s Britain and the country embraced the swinging 60s, football too abolished its wage cap. Cue a swarm of opportunists looking to make a quick buck. One such man was Jimmy Gold, who systematically rigged Football League games from 1962 to 1964, now known as the Great British Betting Scandal. After learning how a match between Mansfield and Tranmere was manipulated, Gold quickly set about some subterfuge of his own, enticing 3 players at Sheffield Wednesday to throw a game against Ipswich. The following year, the Scot tried to fix the game between Bradford Park Avenue and Bristol Rovers, but the Sunday People, a newspaper at the time, learned of his antics and exposed the players, who subsequently received lifetime bans. Sensing the net was closing on his betting charade, Gold sought one last payday. Ironically, he sold his story to the Sunday People for £7,000. That's roughly $120,000 in today's money. In total, 10 players were jailed, with Gold receiving the longest sentence of 4 years. 6. Operation Apito Dourado. Roughly translated as the Golden Whistle, the Apito Dourado turned the Portuguese league upside down in the mid to late 2000s when a chairman's former lover exposed his apparent foul play in her autobiography. The man in question was FC Porto's illustrious chairman, Jorge Nuno Pinto da Costa, and as the investigation widened, many of the country's top officials also became part of the accused party. As well as bribery, da Costa was said to have curried favour with referees by supplying prostitutes for them, and in wiretaps presented in court, he appears to describe the women as fruit to sleep with, which has since become a favourite fan jibe. In the end, Porto were docked 6 points, which didn't even stop them winning the league, and lenient suspended sentences were handed out to all major players. The wiretaps were thrown out as they were recorded without the necessary permission, and Da Costa secured an acquittal, after which the wiretaps went viral on YouTube. 5. Lights out. In February 1999, Roger Firth, a security advisor at Charlton Athletic, was close to executing the perfect crime. He'd been paid a cool £20,000 by a Malaysian betting syndicate to trip the lights at their Valley in their game against Liverpool, forcing the game to come to a close. Easy money, or at least he thought. Unlike in the UK, illegal Asian bookmakers still pay out on the existing result when a match is abandoned, so having control over when a game ends is an extremely profitable commodity. The same syndicate had already infiltrated games at West Ham and Wimbledon, securing six-figure payouts in the process, but this time they were foiled by Rodgers' inability to keep stum. Foolishly, he invited a co-worker in on the plan, but it backfired and was duly reported to the police. 4 men were arrested as a result, 2 Malaysians, a Chinese man and Firth himself, each serving between 18 months and 4 years. 4. Bundesliga. Our next scandal diverts us to the Bundesliga, where in 2005 the Croatian mafia used promising young referee Robert Heuser to influence several regional and cup games. The most high-profile incident was between Hamburg and Paderborn, where Heuser altered the result in dramatic fashion, awarding 2 dubious penalties and sending Emil and Penza off for protestation. Hamburg had been 2-0 up, but eventually lost 4-2, and it was later revealed Heuser earned a lofty £35,000 for his side endeavours. But after a tip-off about his erratic behaviour from fellow referees, German prosecutors launched a probe, and under interrogation, Heuser eventually admitted to the charges, implicating several of the referees in the process. In total, 14 players and 4 refs were summoned for questioning, and ultimately, Heuser served 2 years and 5 months in prison. 3. The Calciopoli scandal. In 2006, Italian football was brought to its knees as several of the league's big hitters were indicted for counts of bribery, blackmail and threats of violence. Amongst the accused were AC Milan, Fiorentina, Lazio and Regina, but it was the old lady, Juventus, who received the investigators' special attention. After intercepting calls that revealed the thick network of sporting treachery, the police decided that Juventus' general manager, Luciano Moggi, was the root of the problem. Such was his influence, even TV presenters couldn't escape his clutches, and they were apparently given a directive of what to say and when. Simply put, the cheating, bullying and harassment was endemic. Juventus was stripped of 2 titles, and a team comprised of Cannavaro, Ibrahimovic, Vieira, Emerson, Zambrotta, Thuram and manager Capello was disbanded. The old lady may have won 5 titles in a row during recent times, but her name has been besmirched forever. 2. Tottenero. If you thought the Calciopoli was bad, say hello to its big brother, Tottenero, the largest match-fixing scandal in the history of Italian football. In 1980, the Guardia di Finanza were tipped off about underhand events by several Roman shopkeepers. Bizarrely, players had been proactively seeking payment to throw games from affluent businessmen. The subsequent investigation revealed players at AC Milan, Lazio, Perugia, Bologna, Napoli and Avellino were all accountable. In Serie B, the only clubs the authorities could pin anything on was Taranto and Palermo. The inquiry culminated in mass arrests, and a total of 50 years worth of bans were handed out and 25 points deducted from across the board. The most notable protagonist in this narrative was Italy striker Paolo Rossi, who was handed a 3-year ban for his part, although it was eventually cut by 12 months to allow him to play in the 1982 World Cup. He finished as the tournament's leading goal scorer as the Azzurri clinched the title, finally proving there's no such thing as karma. 1. Turkish sports corruption scandal. Believe nothing in Turkish football. It is rotten to the core and nobody will act, said influential journalist Endor Kayumcu in 2014. A damning verdict, but one that's hard to dispute after prior events. Following a lengthy police investigation in 2011, it was revealed the poster boys for corruption in the domestic game were none other than champions-elect Fenerbahce. That season, they were charged with an astounding 12 separate counts of match fixing, which no doubt helped them secure an unprecedented 16 wins from their last 17 games, pipping Trabzonspor to the title on a head-to-head record. Transcripts from that year's hearings include former Istanbul winger Ibrahim Akin telling judges Fenerbahce offered him $100,000 not to score against them, to which he accepted under the condition it was euros, not dollars. In total, 48 players and officials were found guilty, with a further 44 cleared of any wrongdoing. However, shortly after, the Turkish government softened laws on sports-related crimes, and many key figures escaped with watered-down sentences or even nothing at all. Strange.
So there we have it, but what do you guys at home think? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, why don't you click here for loads more great content and down there to subscribe. And as always guys, we'll catch you later.